NAIT students reflect on the pros and cons of cheaper gas prices.
I'm kind of out of work for the time being, but I can get to school a little easier, so.
NAIT's Animal Blood Bank struggles to find donors during the holiday season.
Just like humans during the holiday season, the demand for blood for dogs also goes up because
an empty acre in Horlack Park transforms into a winter palace.
These are totally built 100% by hand.
Hello and welcome to Second Edition News. With the economy being down as well as the price of oil, naturally the price of gas sinks too.
Although a lot of people are really enjoying the dip in gas prices, for some NAIT students, low prices aren't a good thing. With oil being at $37 a barrel, the gas prices are lower than they have been in years. Unfortunately for some, rather than it being a benefit, it takes a hit on employment within some industries.
I work in a shop where it's oil and gas and construction, so oil and gas goes down, people start getting laid off.
With NAIT being a trade school, there are a large number of students feeling the same way. So the low gas prices may be good for students temporarily, but for some it could mean being forced to deal with issues long-term in their selected fields.
The City of Edmonton is kicking off its Donate a Ride program for the 20th year in a row. By working alongside many local agencies, the Donate a Ride campaign is able to provide free bus and LRT tickets for those who need it most.
I think it's a very good idea because sometimes people can't afford rides, cars probably especially, and being able to take the bus is quite essential to them. And I'd say being able to donate a ride if they're low on cash is very helpful.
Since beginning in 1996, the Donate a Ride campaign has raised more than $2.3 million for ETS passes. If you would like to donate, go to donatearide.ab.ca.
The NAIT Animal Health Clinic is looking for blood donations to assist owners' furry friends. A branch of the Canadian Animal Blood Bank, the NAIT Clinic collects 20 to 25% of Canada's total animal donations each year. Despite collecting around 30 donations every month, oftentimes it's not enough.
there is a pretty high demand for the blood. Quite often the shelves go almost bare, if not completely bare, especially during the holiday season. We quite often run out of blood, so the demand is always there.
The Animal Blood Bank specializes in dog donations, and if you would like more information on how to contribute, go to CanadianAnimalBloodBank.ca.
Candy Cane Lane kicked off once again, except this year there's a special milestone in sight. Since starting over 2 decades ago, Edmonton Food Bank and Candy Cane Lane have accumulated over 995,000 pounds of food for donation. This year, they look to surpass the 1 million pound mark. Visitors can drop off donations in the green bins located along the lane.
And it really goes a long way, especially now when our economy is in tougher times. We know more and more people every month are taking advantage of the food bank services.
Candy Cane Lane is open from now until midnight on January 3rd. The Edmonton Food Bank stressed that it is important that the food items you bring are non-perishable. For more information on Candy Cane Lane or on how to donate, visit candycanelane.trav-graphics.com.
With the downturn in the economy, charities like the Christmas Bureau are struggling to meet their goals. The food in these boxes will provide around 1,500 Christmas meals for individuals and families during the holiday season. Yet despite the truckloads of food, the Christmas Bureau is still short of its donation goal.
We are feeling an impact on what the economy is happening out there, and so our comment would be is if you can give, please give. If you can give a bit more, please do so.
To learn how to donate or join the more than 600 volunteers, go to christmasbureau.ca.
In just a couple of weeks, Edmonton will have its very own, very large winter palace. Covering 1 acre of land in Horlack Park, it's something Edmontonians should be excited about. A castle entirely made of ice is under construction, and it's expected to be completed and open to the public by New Year's Day. The process of building the ice castles is patented to the Ice Castles Company, making it a very unique method of building. The entire castle is built completely by hand.
We'll attach icicles to the ice and then run water on those icicles, and they thicken, and then as soon as they thicken and get strong, we'll stick another icicle horizontally and vertically, and we just keep repeating the process over and over again.
All the water used for the castle is stored and recycled back into Edmonton's water system once it all melts. head down to Horlack Park to check that one out. Wow, Edmonton had quite an eventful week in sports.
Yes, the Eskimos lost their head coach and already found a new one.
That they did. Not only that, but the Oilers honored legend Glen Sather and the Oil Kings played a wild game against Medicine Hat. I've got all the details for you coming up next. The Edmonton Oilers honored former coach and general manager Glen Sather this week. Slats is considered to be the architect of the dynasty teams from the 80s. Although he was a great coach, the ceremony focused more on the behind the scenes of what made Sather such a great executive.
I, Mayor Don Iveson, on behalf of the people of Edmonton, do hereby proclaim December 11th, 2015, Glen Sather Day in Edmonton, Alberta's capital city.
Over 200 fans were at the event, where the team announced owner Daryl Cates will be donating $1 million to help the city's at-risk youth. Kevin Lowe talked about Slats' impact and importance to the team.
You know, he was a great mentor. He was obviously a great coach and manager, but I think in some respects, for a lot of us, he was almost, somewhat of a father figure as well.
The Oilers raised Sather's banner to the rafters of Rexall Place in their game against his Rangers Friday, a game the Oilers won in true Sather fashion with a 7-5 victory. The Oil Kings were looking to turn things around on Sunday night when they returned to Rexall Place. The Kings had an unsuccessful 2-game road trip, dropping both games. They kicked off their 4-game homestand in the middle of a 3-game mini-series against the Medicine Hat Tigers. It was a wild one at Rexall, which was fitting as they hosted Family Fun Night. During the game, St. Martin Elementary School treated fans to a special performance. Aren't they the cutest? The Oil Kings came out firing as they took 14 of their 25 shots in the first period. The hard work eventually pays off as OK's forward Tyler Robertson cleans up the scramble play in front of Med Hat netminder Max Shields. The Kings go up 2-0 early. The Tigers respond quickly as Cole Sanford wires a shot off a sweet feed from David Kenneville, narrowing the deficit to 1. Into the second now with the Tigers pressing, Oil Kings goaltender Peyton Lee makes one of his 36 saves to keep the Kings ahead. After the Tigers tied at 2-2, hometown captain Brandon Baddock tips in a point shot to put Edmonton back up 1. Later in the frame, Lee makes a spectacular post-to-post stop to keep the Kings ahead. Jumping to the third, after Med Hat knotted it up at 3, Oil Kings forward Tyler Robertson tucks away a rebound to boost the Kings ahead once again. But the Tigers weren't ready to roll over just yet. Med Hat with the man advantage as Ryan Jevney unloads a bomb from the top of the circle, beating Lee short side to tie the game for a third time. And yeah, Jevney's stoked. Directing your attention to the top left corner of your screen, Cole Gamble takes James Hamlin hard into the boards from behind. A crowd gathers and tempers boil. Blows are eventually exchanged as both teams are assessed offsetting minors. On the ensuing face-off, the Tigers put a dagger in the heart of the hometown boys as Jevney fires home his second of 2 late goals. The Oil Kings fall 5-4. The Tigers only led for 5 minutes, but that's all they needed. Oil Kings captain Brandon Baddock has more on the loss.
Obviously, that's not how we like to finish games there. We had a lead there and we kind of let it slip away from us. Peyton needed a little bit of help there. He came out with some big saves in the second, and we needed a little bit more help from us defensively.
The Edmonton Eskimos have had a whirlwind of an offseason thus far. After winning the Grey Cup not even 3 weeks ago, the Eskimos saw their head coach stolen away by the rival Saskatchewan Roughriders. Chris Jones took over the Eskimos in 2014, and after 2 seasons, he guided the team to the top of the standings, helping to give Edmonton its first Grey Cup in 10 years. Jones accepted a deal from the Roughriders, taking him to Saskatchewan only days after hoisting the Grey Cup as an Eskimo. The team wasted no time in filling that hole, however. On Monday, they announced the hiring of former Eskimo Jason Maas as head coach. Maas spent last season as offensive coordinator with the Ottawa Red Blacks. The Red Blacks were the number 2 offense in the league, second to only the Eskimos. He would help Ottawa to the Grey Cup final, where they would eventually lose to the Esks.
The goal was always at some point in my life to come back to Edmonton where I feel family and feel a sense of great pride and community. And this is always where I've wanted to end up. And again, I can't thank Ed and the organization enough for allowing me this opportunity.
Maas spent 9 years with the Eskimos as a player and talked about what being an Eskimo meant to him.
I mean, it's how you treat your teammates. It's how you're accountable to every action that you have. It's about your dedication, your discipline, your desire, coming to work every single day and wanting to work like a blue-collar person. That's what the Eskimo way was to me, and being a part of the community.
It was a quick turnaround for those Eskimos.
Yeah, it was definitely impressive.
Thanks for bringing us up to date, Nathan. That wraps it up for this semester's second edition news. Thank you for joining us.
Hello and welcome to Cooking with Ernest. I'm your host, Bailey Nitty, joined by Chef Dan, who is going to show us how to spice up your typical taco. How are we going to do that?
So we're actually going to start with fish. So we're not going to use beef or anything. We're just going to use some cod we got here.
Okay.
So we're going to do nice long strips of our cod, and we're just trying to keep them nice and even and thin because we want to make sure our cod cooks all at the same time.
Right. And can you use any other types of fish for this?
Yeah, you can use any type of firm fish. So you want to make sure it just has the texture that stays together when you cook it.
Right.
So we have a standard batter here. So it's just flour, beer, and salt, pepper, and baking soda.
And is there any other way you can cook it other than putting it in batter and deep frying?
Yeah, you could actually just stick it in a pan
Okay.
and just saute it off if
Grill.
you're actually worried about those extra little calories that you get from deep frying.
Okay.
We're only deep frying just because it just tastes a little bit better and you
Right.
get that nice crunch factor out of it.
Always better.
Basically, you want to make sure you have 350 oil, and you want to be very careful to splash up. So you can see I'm just dropping it in, letting it cook a little bit.
And how long typically does this take to cook?
Well, basically, you want to go till it's golden brown.
Okay.
Now we're going to start on our corn tortillas. So we just got some corn tortillas from a local, any Mexican or Spanish supermarket.
Yep.
These are gluten friendly.
Okay.
So that's why we're using them. I personally find they taste better than the stuff you get at the store.
Yep.
So those are actually going to go until they soften up. So
Okay.
basically, right now they're raw dough.
Just a couple seconds on each side.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So you'll start to see that they can turn color, and they'll also actually puff up every once in a while.
Okay.
Because of the air that gets trapped in it.
And can you use a taco shell with fish, or is that not really?
Yeah, you definitely can. Just because we're putting like a batter on the outside of these doesn't mean that it has to be
Crunchy
all throughout. Exactly. So we have some condiments here too. We got some salsa, some sour cream.
Okay. And what kind of spices are in the sour cream?
Just some cumin and some chilies. So our tacos are done. Our fish is nice and golden here. And then we're gonna just assemble now. So we're gonna put our fish in.
Just the same way you would as any other taco.
Exactly.
All right, well, Chef Dan, these look incredible. I cannot wait to try and make these at home myself. If you guys would like to find out more recipes, head to naitnewswatch.ca and click on the second edition tab. Thank you so much for joining.